Welcome, horror lovers! Have you ever had a nightmare where something hides in your closet? It is pretty common, especially when we're children. However, although we have a hyperactive imagination and a lot of fears when we're little, there are still things that not even an adult can explain. And that's what happened to today's protagonist. It was Thomas, a man in his 30s, married, who had a precious 4-year-old boy. His wife and child were the most valuable things in his life, and he was willing to do anything for them. Fortunately, being a father nowadays doesn't require extreme sacrifices, besides enduring a few tantrums, giving a lot of love, and spending a few nights without sleeping. Like that one time. It was about 3 in the morning, and Thomas was sleeping peacefully in his bed when he felt someone pulling his pajamas. In the past, he would have gotten scared, but now he was used to his son waking him up in the middle of the night. The little one had a very scared look, as if he just had a nightmare. With his head down, the only thing the small child managed to say was that there was a monster in his closet. His mother woke up too, and half asleep asked what was going on. Thomas, already used to it, jokingly said that they had an unexpected guest in the child's room. She put the kid on the bed and gave him a tender hug. She tried to calm him down, playing along with Thomas' joke. However, that night their son couldn't sleep with them since they had to work the next day and they all needed to have a good rest. So she told the little one that Dad would go talk to the monster and tell it to go away. The child nodded without uttering a word. Thomas sighed and begrudgingly got up. As a last resort, Thomas asked his wife if she could go face the monster instead, but she excused herself by saying that was a man's job and that he shouldn't worry. That if he didn't come back, she would remember him as a great husband. So, resigned, Thomas went down the hall, wishing to be done with all that and go back to sleep as soon as possible. The room was at the other side of the house, and although Thomas knew the way by heart, he still had to advance by touching the walls to guide himself through the darkness. A bit of light at the end indicated that the door of his son's room was completely open. However, Thomas found it strange that the closet was completely closed. When he reached the door, he could distinguish a strange sound coming from inside. Some sort of distorted buzz. He stopped to hear better, thinking that maybe one of his son's toys was still on when it was put away. That wouldn't be the first time that happened. But even then, he started to feel very uneasy. The whole situation was giving him a bad feeling. When he entered the room, he saw his son's baseball bat and decided to grab it just in case. He took a deep breath, grabbed the closet's handle, and slowly opened the door. His fear increased when he noticed something weird inside. In one corner, there were a lot of clothes piled up, and the noise was coming from below them. The strange sound kept going while something was moving below that pile of clothes. Now terrified, Thomas thought he recognized the muffled voice of a person. Maybe a child? He gripped the bat with all his might and started to slowly throw aside the clothes in the pile. He threw them to the side one by one, with his hands all stiff and his heart about to burst out of his chest. When he threw aside the last piece of clothing, he could finally see the origin of the sound. Indeed, it was a child in fetal position and muzzled, with a horrified expression on his face and covered in tears. The child had made such an effort to free himself that his face was all flushed. Thomas had a hard time recognizing the child in the darkness, until he realized that was his own son. It couldn't be. He just left him in his own room with his wife. Without wasting any time, Thomas dropped the bat and quickly removed the muzzle on his son. The few words the little one could utter after catching his breath left Thomas frozen in shock. "He's coming for Mom!" Thomas rushed to the main bathroom, but when he got there, it was too late. Nobody was there anymore, just an empty bed and scrambled bed sheets. And although he reported his wife's disappearance to the police, Thomas and his son never saw her again. And they could never sleep in peace at night either, fearing that something might come out of the closet once more.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it. And if you want to see more Draw My Life videos, subscribe to our channel. See you in the next episode!